So I'm heading to Minnesota. I'm going to Minnesota for the summer. Not the entire summer. We'll see how that all works. I may come back here for a couple weeks to Boston, but I'm a little bit unsure of my plans. But uh, I will spend quite some time in Minnesota. So before I head out to dinner or to a bar in Boston, 5 minute, 10-minute walk from where I live, the choice of what 2 or 3 or 4 pens I might put in my pocket is not uh, all that important because I'm not going to be gone all that long. So if I suddenly have the urge, oh, why did I forget that Parker 51? I needed that now. I never really need a Parker 51 when I'm out drinking at a bar, but sometimes it's nice to have a Parker 51. Anyway, the point is, I'm going to be gone for a longer period of time, and I won't be able to come back here to pick up a Parker 51 or a Parker Vacuumatic or a dip pen nib or a Franken pen or whatever it is I want. So I have to sort of plan carefully. And yes, I could bring thousands of pens or hundreds of pens with me, but when I do that, that makes it even more difficult for me to figure out what to pack. I have a case, a little leather pen case somewhere in my house that holds a dozen pens. I don't know where that case is. It should be right here or right over there, but I can't find it. But I'm presuming I will be able to find it. So I'm looking for 13 or so pens to put in my case for the summer. I think this might be one of them. This is one that I've showed someone to buy the other day. It was in my sale bin. And I thought, well, gee, this is really fun. It's this fine, just slightly flexible Schaefer, but it's really, really beefy, really, really strong. And I think if I bring this to out sketching with me, I will be pretty sure that I'm able to get some nice drawings done with a pen that has a fine nib when I want it and a slightly more robust nib when I press down. But it's also a fun pen to be able to hand to someone who's never used a fountain pen before, and I'll say this pen is 100 years old or nearly so, and 80, 90 years old, and I'll say, write with it, and I won't worry about them breaking this nib because it's a Schaefer and it's relatively sturdy. Handing them this pen, this Waterman, which I think I will bring home with me, which has, the nibs are a little bit different. This is a little bit more flexible, but I could see that someone could potentially press down too hard. So I might give this to start with, and if they pass this test, I'll say, well, play with this one. But what's nice about bringing this to show and tell at a bar or a restaurant to the person who's never seen an old fountain pen, this pen looks old. So I think I will bring this one with me. This has essentially been the pen that's been in my pocket and being used for about the last couple of months. So I'm sort of used to it. So why not keep this one in the take home pile? I'll also bring one of these. I don't know if it's going to be this one or the next one. This is a Eversharp Skyline pen, which is another rubbery nib, really, really good for sketching. So I think I'll bring this one. Which of these two will I bring? They're almost the same. This one is slightly finer nib. Or should I bring both of these? I mean, it's sort of, again, nice to show someone who's sitting at a bar why I need to have so many pens, and they'll say, well, why? These look identical. Why do you need both of them? And I'll say, well, this one has that kind of a nib, but this one has, it starts out broader, a little bit fatter. It goes a little bit fatter. So this is otherwise identical. The range is the same, but this one starts out fatter than this one. So that's sort of another nice way to share a pen collection and why you collect pens with someone else. They can see the difference. Now, of course, you're imagining yourself as some guy sitting at the bar next to me, gets to the bar after a hard day's work. The last thing he wants to talk to is a 70-year-old man talking about fucking fountain pens. He wants to talk about the game, or he wants to talk about politics, or he wants to talk about how pretty that girl is, the bartendress is, or something. Things that I don't know anything about. Pierre knows nothing about A, girls, B, sports, C, I do know stuff about politics, and I can get on my soapbox, and so can the other person, but, you know, and what do I know about? I know about pens and art, and I have opinions about politics. But anyway, it's sort of nice to share my interest in fountain pens with strangers by offering them a little bit about what it is about pens that I like. And one of them is, of course, the subtle differences between nibs. And sometimes that's easier to see when the pens look alike. If this nib is different from this nib on this pen, your eye is distracted by all the other things that's different about it. So you don't focus on what maybe I'm asking you to focus on. I'll probably bring one of these, maybe this one. This is just as good as any. This one has a scuffed up cap. You know, if I were to lose this, if it fell off the boat when I'm out sailing and drawing at the same time and we hit a big wave, or my brother tacks and we go in a different direction or whatever, if this falls off and sinks, yes, of course I'll be upset, and I'll ask that the lake be dredged for this thing, get the scuba divers out looking for it, but it's not the same thing as if this pen were in perfect shape. Now, I know I can hear some of you pen collectors out there saying, it's only a Taperite. Even one in mint condition is worthless. And I can hear you say that. This pen I'm bringing, because this is one that I was using for a job that I did recently. And I may have to continue working on that job while I'm home in Minnesota. So I'm bringing that for that purpose. Likewise with this one, I think. This one has, I have a job right now where I have to imitate writing from the 1700s. And this pen sort of has that quality. It looks, the line it makes looks old. Elizabeth T. Goodway owned this pen. Now, this pen is what was referred to as the senior, and this was generally marketed toward men. Women in 1920 didn't have pockets to put a pen with a clip in. They had little ring tops. These are often called ladies' pens because the ring top. And then you put them on a little ribbon around your neck or something. Will I bring a 51? This is not a 51. I will bring a 51. I don't know which one it will be, but I will bring a 51, not that one. This one, should I bring this one? Nah, leave this one at home. What does this one do? Should I bring any pens home that I might be able to sell to someone while I'm there? That would be wise. I might meet a fellow artist at the bar and, gee, I want one of those pens, and I could see them doing beautiful drawings with it, and having a pen that I could sell them might be a fun thing to do. Should I? I don't know. Well, so far I have half the pens that will fit in the case that I'm planning on bringing, if I can find that case. If I can't find that case, I do have another case I can bring instead. But I know that if I bring more pens, the more pens I bring, the less likely I'll use them to draw with, because I'll spend all this time thinking about which pen do I need to bring with me. That's always a problem. I found it. It's right here. One. Sometimes I can sneak one in there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can maybe bring 14 pens with me. Now, do I have to bring brown shoes with me to match my purse? All these decisions you have to make. No one's making any comments about my trauma I'm dealing with. Maybe you don't quite feel my pain. So yes, 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 yes. I need a 51. Make a list of what I need. I want a 51. Maybe I'll bring another pen that's excruciatingly fine. Maybe another rubbery flex nib for robust sketching. And I know I've got one that's in a Skyline that I can use for that. Should I bring another one of my Franken pens? I don't really think I need to bring another one of these. I think one is enough. Franken pens are pens that I don't actually carry with me, because I always have to dip them to make them have enough ink to work the way I like them to work. So I think this will do for my purposes there. This might be my last broadcast until I get to Minnesota. I'll try to do some broadcasts from there too. it all depends on what I can create as a setup that isn't going to be in the way of my family that's up there. They're going to be, there's a table that is where I would set up this contraption. And it's the dining room table, the kitchen table, the table everyone eats at. And I can't make it easy for me to set up my contraption I need to set up there. I don't know, maybe I can. Maybe it'll be fine. It seems to me this thing that I'm using here, this arm, it seems to me I created one of these things there using the same kind of jury-rigment, if that's the right word. So I'm able to easily have something that I can aim down at the tabletop. So that won't be a problem. Anyway, any questions anyone has? I may have time to do one of these tomorrow at this time. So maybe if you want to think about things you might want to ask me or put comments, when you're going on a trip, how many pens do you take if you're going to be gone for a month, let's say? I don't know when I'm coming back. I only bought a one-way ticket to Minnesota. I may come back, buy a two-way ticket to come back and go back out again. Spend 10 days here and then go back out. And then depending on the weather and how my brothers and I are getting along, we get along okay, no problem there. But depending on all the circumstances that involve life, we're probably going to be at war tomorrow. This Iranian nuclear deal, there was a perfectly good treaty working perfectly well that Obama put together. And then Donald Trump canceled it during his first administration, even though it was working perfectly well. And then he comes back and now he, drops a bomb on people. Well, who started this? Donald J. Trump started it. See? Politics. I can talk about politics. Not so much about girls. I mean, I can talk about girls in the way that I talk about guys. I treat them individually, sometimes collectively, perhaps. If I see 4 girls at a table, I can maybe make some sort of statement about all of them that might be true, but I don't see girls the same way that many guys see them. I don't see them the same way that Donald Trump sees them, let's say. Let's put it that way. They're not just playthings that I can grab the something of anytime I want to because I'm a celebrity. I don't see them in that way. I don't see guys that way either. Well, I'm not a celebrity for one thing, but I wouldn't think of saying that out loud. Should I bring these pens with me? These are kind of fun to play with. Maybe I'll drag these with me. One of these seemed not to work. And it was this one. This is the one I think I tried to fix. I am going to bring my watercolors with me and a couple of watercolor brushes because I want to learn how to do them, draw with them, paint with them. Oh, Mark is here. Am I taking ink? I am taking some Waterman. I am taking some Waterman black ink with me. I am also taking what's the word I want? Walnut ink. Walnut brown or whatever it's called. Because I might need that for a job that I started here, and I might need it to continue with the job. So I'm going to bring some of that with me. I hope. I have it in a seltzer bottle. I wonder if I need to put it in an ink bottle. I know I can take an ink bottle without having issues. There's not a lot of water, liquid in an ink bottle. But a seltzer bottle, tonic water, it's a glass tonic water bottle. So I am taking ink, yes. Bottle of black Waterman, and I think I have ink there as well, and I can always order ink from Amazon and bring it. But we'll bring these. These will be fun to play with. But they're not gonna go in that thing. What else can I tell you here? Have any other questions, Mark? You're the only one that's live with me right now. Let's put the ones I'm taking in here right now. This one has ink in it. So maybe ones that have ink in it, I sometimes, yes, I can probably put them in here, why not? These will be on my carry-on luggage, and the nibs will be going up, and hopefully they won't cause any leaking to happen. Sometimes I'll get off the plane and there's going to be, undo the cap and ink pours out of the thing because it expands. But generally, if I have them in my case cap up, that doesn't happen. Okay, everyone. I'll catch you later. Bye. Nice to see you, Mark. Maybe I'll do this again tomorrow. Bye-bye.